Hey everybody, it's Corey, and welcome back. Today I am at the Houston International Quilt Market, and I am in the Superior Threads booth with Micki Chapelier. Did I get that?
Chapelier, you did.
I did it!
Good.
Go
Woo!
me, yes. And she's going to walk us through the Superior Threads line and talk about kind of which thread works best for which project and all sorts of different things. You've got them all laid out right here.
I do, in no particular order.
Okay.
Just out. I went and picked up a sampling
of
things that we have. So, in case you don't know, Superior Threads has been around for years and years and years. It started out in St. George, Utah by a wonderful gentleman named Bob Purcell and his wife Heather. Great folks.
We love Bob.
Yeah.
We love Bob.
He loves jokes.
Yes.
Yes. So I was lucky enough to come on board. I was always a handy quilter educator, and now I'm over with Superior Threads. So I said, I used to be fun, now I just talk about threads.
So
is that like fun?
That's the best.
Yeah, it is.
That's one of those things, like say less.
It's like I'm cool. I'm cool. So I do have some laid out, and I'm going to tell you why, if we walk around this booth afterwards, why you're going to want these threads.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Notice that I did get some Christmas colors out here.
I like that.
Who doesn't love a little bling in their quilts?
I love bling.
And so I always say that whenever you have finished quilting or stitching your project together, you want to bring that quilt to life in the last step, and that is by instituting the right threads into the product.
Of course.
So, let's talk about Christmas.
Let's
Everybody likes a little shine.
Yes.
So, I have got some metallics here. Metallics come in a spool, a mini cone, or the big cone. What I love about these, if you looked on here, if you were not a novice seamstress or quilter, it'll tell you right on our packaging what size needle. So there's one thing that's already broke down for you.
Right.
You don't have to think about it. Before I ever would put this thread on my machine to be quilting, I would puddle out some on that project and go, yay or nay.
Right.
Ooh, that's popping? No, that's not doing anything for it.
Yeah.
It's not the one. So, metallics, it's really great to bring that Christmas project to life. Let's just think about if you were doing snowflakes or a Santa's hat and coat.
Little ornaments.
Ornaments.
On the tree.
Oh, Corey, you got something there.
I've got something here.
You've got something there. You could work with it. So it's metallics, and it's going to play like a 40 weight. Tensioning should be turned down to very slight tension going through.
Right.
Now, here's the thing. Not knowing a lot of your background, not knowing if you like to sew or not, a lot of people might think that they would use this in their bobbin.
I was just about to ask you, what is your recommendation? I have my own recommendation, but I'd like to know. Actually, I'll tell you mine, and then you can tell me if I'm wrong or not.
Oh, I hope you're wrong.
I probably am wrong.
Okay, go.
I like to use either sew fine or bottom line in my bobbin.
Oh my gosh.
For when I use metallics.
I'm just not talking to an amateur here.
I know a few things.
Not
a lot, but I know a few things.
Oh my gosh. So, he's right. So you would not use this in your bobbin.
Right.
I 100% am going to use a bottom line.
Okay.
There's a couple reasons for. One of them is I said this is a 40 weight. So bottom line is indeed 60 weight. It's a poly thread. So there's a couple things that's going to help me with is, I didn't pick one of those up.
We can talk about it.
So bottom line, being 60 weight, you're going to get more on your bobbin.
Okay.
And if you've got a linty thread on top, you're not going to get lint in the top and lint in the bobbin.
Right.
So I'm just going to always tell everybody, the bobbin is your foundation. Set your bobbin with bottom line, and you never have to worry about it again.
Okay.
That's just one of the fundamentals of your quilting process that's really now done for you.
I love this. We have people.
Oh, look, we have people.
We have people. They bring us things.
That was like magic.
It was.
It was magic, and it's red.
And it's red to match the red metallic.
To match that. So, yes, this is the bottom line that I would suggest. Even if you're thinking it may be a little bit off, it's going to marry very nicely.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So, 60 weight, bottom line. There's sometimes that the name of our product is just going to tell you what it's for. Bottom line. Cinch, bottom.
Yeah.
Hello. So that is that. Bottom line, I love it. So back to bottom line just a second. So threads weights go from 8 weight up to 100 weight. 100 weight being the highest. It's the thinnest thread that we have. 8 weight being the thickest. So the way I tell people to remember this is if you are going to use an 8-weight in your top and you think, oh, I've got to match the weights, you're going to get about that far in your quilt.
Right.
Before you have to change out your
You're
bobbin.
gonna be like, all right, new bobbin.
So, new bobbin. So, just always remember, bottom line is your friend. You can use it on top. It's just going to give you less of a stitch that you're going to see.
Correct,
Because it's a lighter thread.
I like to use the bottom line when I'm doing background quilting behind different applique pieces. If I do stitch in the ditch, I love that bottom line for that as well.
If you're doing
It's
pebbles,
stunning. Yes. Especially
anytime
that
you're
tight
traveling
work.
over,
Yeah.
you're not going to see that thread build up. So
Right.
that's where a lighter weight thread.
Right.
Oh my gosh, you know so much. So
A few, yes.
Yeah.
So what's next in the lineup?
Okay, so I'm going to skip over that for right now,
Okay.
but we have Fantastico. So Fantastico is a variegated trilobal poly. All of our variegated threads are variegated at 1-inch intervals, so you really see some pretty thread play on your quilt. It's got a place for the variegated thread to be. It doesn't play on every quilt, but it can really bring out your material if you so desire. So in the case of Fantastico that I have here, and I just randomly picked a cone, there's 3 different colors that I see in here predominantly. Again, 1-inch intervals. So don't think because you're using this on the top, you have to use it in the bottom bobbin, because they're never going to marry.
Right.
You're never going to get those colors exactly on top of each other. And so that being said, I would look at my backing fabric, and I would look at the thread that I'm using, and I go, I wonder which color I want to pick out of there.
Right.
And then I would go to my bobbin, my bottom line, and I would pick which color I want. In this case, I could do blue, I could do yellow, I could do red. There's a lot of possibilities in this. But once again, 40-weight trilobal poly. So what this is going to do versus King Tut is you're going to have sheen versus a matte finish.
Right.
So think about how you want your stitches to look. If you want a little shine, or if you want it to just
Which is one of those amazing things, not to cut you off, one of those amazing things about that trilobal fiber. It allows that, because it's a triangular fiber wound together,
Yes.
it allows that light to refract off of it, and you're getting that beautiful sheen
It
when
is.
you're doing different things like art quilting or different wall pieces or even table runners or even an overall quilt.
An
it really
overall
depends
quilt.
on what the quilt calls for, like you said earlier.
If you're doing an overall quilt with very simple piecing, you may want a thread that's going to showcase that project a
Right.
little bit better than what a plain thread is going to do.
Right.
So now I am to King Tut.
Okay.
King Tut is a 40-weight, 3-ply Egyptian cotton. Now, I say Egyptian cotton, but one of the good things is our cotton threads are produced in the United States.
Oh, okay.
So it's grown locally. I've got Pima here. It's grown in Arizona. So I think as Americans, we like to go, oh, it's one of our products.
Right, made in the U.S. yeah.
Made in the U.S.
Yeah.
So King Tut is, it's got a huge following. Here is another variegated. As I said, it's Egyptian cotton, so you're going to pay a little bit more for the fiber that it's made out of.
Right.
It's going to give you a little bit of lint outtake. Never worry about a lint outtake, because you should be keeping your machine clean anyway.
Of course. Yeah.
So it's beautiful threads. I just randomly picked that up. And Corey, is that gorgeous or what?
It's a stunning color.
It's beautiful.
That's a Joseph's coat.
No way.
I can look at. I am very good with the colors and superior
Oh
threads.
my gosh. Show
Am
off.
I hired?
Show off. You're right. Joseph's coat.
And I want to say this fantastic. This is stained glass, right?
I
think it's
we'll
stained
say
glass.
yes.
I think it is. I
We'll
think it
say
is.
yes.
I know
would
Fantasticos don't
I
have the
wouldn't
names.
want to prove you wrong, so
Let's
we'll
just
say
go
yes.
with
Yes.
Okay.
Stained glass, everybody. So that's those two.
Okay.
And then we have got the sister product of Fantastico. So we've got Magnifico, Trilobal Poly, Fantastico. Same thread, just variegated version versus a solid. Now these were actually brought out as our embroidery line. But just because I say they're for embroidery line, you can use them on your quilts too.
Of course.
It's not for embroidery
Right.
only. So
predominantly, but that sheen allows that beautiful look, especially from a solid factor. And this is also one of those things you talked with Fantastico that you could marry it with bottom line. But if you want that sheen on both sides, marry it with Magnifico in the bobbin.
Yes.
You've got that beautiful sheen, but you've got that solid on the back.
Yes,
and you've
you
got
do.
That nice variegated on the front.
Now, here's a factor that a lot of people do not realize,
Okay.
that right in the base of the cone here,
Uh-huh.
it's going to do some of the work for you, because if you're using a long arm, it tells you a size 18 needle.
Yep.
If you're using a domestic machine, it's a 90-14.
Yeah.
So there's no guessing what needle.
Right.
And so if somebody comes into the booth and they're like, oh, my machine hates that thread, it's shredding, immediately I'm going to go, what size needle are you using?
Right.
Because if it is shredding or breaking, it's that you have probably got the incorrect needle size in it. A needle size to the weight of the thread is one of the most important things that you can do to have a perfect stitch quality.
Which is one of the things that I really enjoy about Superior Threads, is y'all are very, I would say, top level when it comes to educating the
Right.
consumer, the customer, the person using the stuff. Because I'm a firm believer, if you've got that proper education, all of those, my thread is shredding, my tension, all that disappears, and you're enjoying what you're doing.
And that's what everybody should do.
Yes.
So whenever I teach, I don't care if it is a new quilter or if it's somebody that's quilted for years.
Yeah.
They're going to go, I'm going to see that aha moment come on their
that
face.
light bulb go,
that
you can
light bulb,
see
and
it
they'll
turn
go.
on,
They'll
yeah.
look at their neighbor, and go, and they're just they're lip syncing, going, "I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did you know that?" And like they come away with something.
Right.
And so that is the ultimate goal, to give everybody the knowledge that they need
Yeah.
to do the
To
thing
be-
that we love.
and love it and be
And
excited about
I
it.
do
happy.
love it. I
Yeah.
do. So Magnifico is going to give you that beautiful sheen that you're looking. And if you're not looking for sheen, Omni thread. This is what I call a workhorse of a thread. A beginner quilter,
Yeah.
if they come to the booth and they're like, oh, what thread should I start with? I'm going to go Omni.
Old Faithful.
Old Faithful.
Yeah,
That's a great way
Old
to put
Faithful,
it.
really.
Old Faithful.
Yeah.
So it's 6,000 yards. It is the least expensive price point that we've got, with a absolute workhorse of a thread. We have a variegated version also, Omni V. They're exactly the same thread. It's just one in a variegated version. This thread is not going to cause you any problems at all. What it is going to do is give you a little bit of a lint outtake. Once again, never worry about lint. It's a nature of the beast when you're using fibers. So I never worry about a lint.
One of the things that I really enjoy about Omni, because I use it quite often in my quilting, is it has that matte finish. So you're getting the appearance of a cotton thread, but the strength of a polyester fiber.
And that's a perfect
And
way to
it's-
put it,
and it's
because
really
that
wonderful.
is exactly right.
Yeah.
It's a cotton thread without paying the cotton price.
Right.
And it's still going to give you that great quality and the look of the thread that you're wanting to see, because it's 40 weight. You're going to see it just a little bit bolder on your project.
And then that Omni V, like you mentioned with the Fantastico in the beginning, and the King Tut, these are all 1-inch variegations.
All of our threads
Love it.
are 1-inch variegation.
Okay.
So you're really going to see it. I have worked at other places, and they may have a variegated thread, and they're going to be like 9 to 8 foot variegation.
Yeah.
So what you're going to see is thread, and then another color, and another color. They're not going to be
a nice blend.
A nice blend.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So talk to me about this thread that's named after the two of us.
I know.
Talk to me about this.
So whenever I teach about this, that's the first thing I say is like, this wasn't named after me. And they're like, what's the name? And I'm like, So Sassy. And they're like, are you sure? So this So Sassy is probably one of the best kept secrets on thread going. So it's a 12 weight.
Okay.
Whenever I say I use this most often in my home and in my studio, I'm not lying. So this, I'm not only a quilter, but I am everything fiber.
Okay.
And so I say in my past life, I used to be fun. Like I used to like really, if I was staying out in a hotel or something, I'm like, ooh, you want to go have a drink? And now I'm like, ooh, I wonder what I can prepare in my room tonight. And so I always travel with So Sassy. So this thread I will use for a needle punch. I do a lot of embroidery work, and so instead of separating out your whatever brand of embroidery thread, I just use one strand of this. Say you want the hand quilted look. This is your go-to because it's 12 weight. It's really going to give you that hand quilted look.
Right.
A Sassy look. This is your thing.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing that you don't realize. Spool.
Yeah.
This one is a straight wound, and this is a cross wound.
Okay, talk to me about the difference.
Okay, the difference is this is cross wound, so it does have to come off of your spool pin this way. If it's a straight wound, it's got to go this way.
Right.
And one of the best ways that I can break that down is if you think about it, the holidays when you've got the roll of ribbon. What happens whenever you bring that in the wrong way? It's just going to start circling and spiraling down.
Yeah.
So even though these are both spools, you have to look and see whether a straight wound or a cross wound for how it's going to come off of this spool.
I feel like I'm sitting in one of your... I just had that aha moment.
Did you really?
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm being serious. I had no idea about that.
So, yes.
Okay, that makes more sense.
It does.
To making sure that it's coming off the spool properly.
Okay, we can stop this now because, like, I've taught you something.
Yeah, it's done. The light bulb has gone on.
Yeah.
But I'm still interested.
It's a 12-weight 3-ply. So, you guys... I talk about this thread, and it's even before my affiliation with Superior Threads because I do love this thread.
Yeah.
No, they really did not name it after me, but they could have. So one day I was on the road, and my husband called and he goes, hey, Mick, you got something from Superior Threads today? And I'm like, oh, I didn't order anything. Because I talked about it so much, they did send me the whole line. And I'm like, shebang.
Sold.
I love it. I love it. So Sassy, very inexpensive.
Okay.
Very inexpensive.
I like that. I like an inexpensive thread.
It really is. I just could not say enough about it. But now there's only 100 yards on here because remember, 12 weight. So it's a
little thicker.
It's a thicker thread
on the edge. So talk to me about this Kimono Silk. What are we looking at for this?
Kimono Silk. So if you've ever had a fiber that is luxurious, the first thing you're going to go, it must be silk.
Yeah.
Because, and what silk is, this is 100 weight, so it's very, very fine. When I have somebody come in, they're probably doing a hand turn needle applique project, and they're going to want something that's not going to be seen very well. So whenever they come in and they're all worried about the color matching, I'm like, you don't really have to focus on it that much. Because it's 100 weight, it's barely going to be seen.
Right.
So let's just get in the right color family.
Right.
And you're going to be good. So needle turn applique, if you wanted to have a show quilt and you wanted to do pebbles, you wanted to do anything fine, this would be your go-to again. There's 220 yards on here, so it's a little deceiving when you look at a spool and you go, okay, this spool is bigger.
Right.
And I'm like, oh yeah, but it's only got 100 yards on it. This spool is so small.
Much smaller.
And it's got 2 times. So it's the weight of the thread. Everybody needs to pay attention to the weight of the thread.
For sure. So I don't see one of my favorites up here, and that hurts my heart.
Oh my gosh.
Micro quilter.
Micro quilter?
Yes, you mentioned 100
Where's our
weight.
magic lady that gets micro quilter? Hello?
While they're grabbing that, you mentioned 100 weight, and I love micro quilter for a ton of my really intricate work that I do in quilts. Just because I can quilt the heck out of a block with micro quilter, and it still drapes well.
Look at this.
Still cozy, and it's magically going to appear, just like that.
Yes. So you guys, both of these are 100 weight.
Yeah.
One is just a man-made fiber. It's a polyester, but it's going to play in the same manner as this is. So this is 3,000 yards versus, what did I say? This is 220 yards.
Yeah.
So same weight.
Right.
So you're right, Corey. Whenever it comes to micro quilter, if you wanted to do a lot of pebbling, if you wanted to do feathers, personally, whenever I do feathers, I will travel up the spine.
Yeah.
And so if I'm not perfectly on my mark, I'm going to want to watch the weight of thread that I'm using, because this is going to play a lot better when I'm not hitting that spine like I want to.
Right.
It's going to be more forgiving. So if you are a beginner feather maker, please think about the weight of thread, because it really, are you a featherer?
Oh, yes.
When I grow up, I want to be.
You can do it. I believe in you.
When I grew up.
Okay.
So when I grew up, and in the practice world though, this is what I would practice with. I would not practice with a 40 weight, because it's going to show every place that I have not hit my mark.
Right.
Weight of thread, you guys, is the best thing to watch.
To always look out for whenever you're deciding what you want. Okay, so last but not least, talk to me about Super Bobs.
Super Bobs.
I want to know everything Super Bob.
So, bottom line magically appeared.
Okay.
This is also bottom line.
Okay.
So if I open this up, these are pre-wound for you perfectly every time.
Love that.
Last year I was on the road 32 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And so whenever I'm home, I do what I love, which is sew and quilt.
Right.
And so I therefore call myself a lazy quilter, because I'm not going to wind my bobbins. I'm going to take one bobbin out whenever it empties and put the new one in.
Right.
They're perfect every time. So a really nicely wound bobbin is when you take your fingernail and you cannot pierce those fibers.
Right.
We do not want quicksand. We want the nice firm bobbin like this.
Right.
So this has got cardboard top and bobbin, or bottom, I'm sorry.
What?
Top,
You love bobbins and
I do.
the bottom line so
I know.
much, it's just natural.
It's like, it's
now.
natural, it's just coming out all over the place. So if I use this at home and say one of the sides of this cardboard came off, you go, oh my gosh, now that bobbin has to be thrown away.
Right.
It's not. It does not matter if the bobbin cardboard is on one side, both sides, or no side.
Oh,
it's going to play all the same.
Okay.
The other thing that I want you to pay attention to, these are 240 yards per bobbin.
Wow.
So on here, in this 12 pack, is 2,880 yards. Remember how I said I used to be fun?
Yes.
Well, I actually did the figuring. I know.
Of course you
I know,
did.
I'm so fun.
Of course you did.
And so in here is the same yardage that's in here. And the price differential is very minimal.
Yeah.
And so they have now done my work for me. I don't have to wind my bobbins. I don't have to pay attention to whether they're perfect or not. They're really perfect every time.
Yeah, because they're straight from the factory. Wonderful. You're not having to worry about your actual bobbin winder or the winder on your machine.
I'm not.
Playing correctly that day.
So bobbins come in 3 classes. It's a 15, an L, and an M. An M is usually for a long arm. L's and 15s are for your domestic. So you do have to know whether you need an L or a 15 in your domestic machine. A lot of people have multiple machines that take different. It just varies on whoever produced it and what size it takes.
For sure, they're all different. That'd be too easy if they were all the same.
It would be too easy. And in the booth here, we have a cheat sheet to tell you what size bobbin it takes.
Okay, so what's the last product you've got to show me?
Okay, the last product I've got to show you is our newest product. And before I'm out on the road teaching, I always like to, new product comes out. I'm a sucker for new products. I like to try them.
Same.
You know, gadgets, give them to me. Gadgets, give them to me. So this came out, I had my hands on it earlier this year, and I was getting ready to go out on to a show and teach. And I'm like, okay, Pima. Let's see if it lives up to the hype. So I put it on. I've got a straight stitch machine, and I put this thread. It's called Pima, once again, U.S. cotton
Yeah.
from Arizona. I put this thread on my machine, and oh my gosh, it is amazing, amazing, amazing. So the difference is it's a 50 weight 2-ply. So let's think about whenever we're stitching our seams in our quilt top.
Mm-hmm.
A 2-ply versus a 3-ply is going to give you a lot less of a seam.
Correct.
So you're not going to have bulk in your ditch.
Right.
Also, I love to paper piece.
Me too.
Do you really?
I love paper piecing.
I do too. That's the only way I'm going to get accurate.
Accurate points, and it just makes sense to me. I don't know why, but
yeah.
it makes more sense to me.
Like, I'm not a perfectionist, so that gives me the perfection I need.
Exactly.
So, have you tried this?
The Pima, yes. Yes, I have.
Okay,
yes,
so
yes.
being the 2-ply, whenever I'm paper piecing, I don't get the bulk in the seams where they all come together.
See, I haven't used it with paper piecing yet.
Please do.
So I need to, yes.
Please do, because this is my new golden child.
Okay.
Not hints with the
and
color,
it's gold
but
too, yeah.
anyway. So even though this is a cotton thread, whenever I see how much lint is possibly going to come off of this thread, this is what I do. I will take it and I'll put it up to a light source, and you don't see a lot of fibers or fingerlings coming off of it.
Yeah, I barely see it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's not going to give you, even though it's cotton, it's going to give you very little to no lint outtake.
Okay.
And that's another reason I love it. So the most common question that we get about it is, well, there's not much on there.
Yeah.
But if I take 2 of these,
Right.
it is the same size as our masterpiece, which is a 50 weight 3-ply.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just that it's a 2-ply. It's going to give you less of a look that it's a bigger cone.
Right.
But it plays so well. I love everything about it. This will forever be my piecing thread. It will.
How many? I know this is totally off. How many does it? I guess how many? Can you get these Pimas individually, or are they sold?
You
in
can.
sets? Oh,
No,
they are?
you
Okay.
can. Yeah, you can get them individually.
Okay.
I
like the set though. The
I
set
do.
You've
it's
got
fall.
The 6, and I love the fall. These
I
are really
love
pretty.
the fall colors.
Those are really pretty together.
Yes,
Very
they are.
rich.
So this is a masterpiece, magically
We just have
appearing
stuff
again.
magically appearing.
So if you take 2 of these,
Yeah.
it equals 1 of these. But because we've got the 2-ply versus the 3-ply, it makes it's a huge difference when looking at it visually.
Of course. Yeah.
But it's the same amount of thread.
That's incredible.
Both 50 weight cotton.
Wonderful.
I know.
Well, thank you so much for walking us through the suite of threads. That
I'm an
Superior
exciting
has
person.
offered.
I can talk about thread all day.
I'm here for it.
I know.
We can send production home, and then you and
I
I can
know.
just kick back.
We can just kick back and
Yeah.
talk thread.
I really appreciate
Corey,
your time. Thank
it was
you.
great. It was great meeting you.
Oh, very nice
So,
to meet you
thank
too.
you.
And thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you follow Superior Threads on all of their social media so you can stay up to date with everything Micki's doing, because I know she's posting stuff.
Actually, I have a once a week blog come out on Superior Threads. Subscribe to Superior Threads, and you're going to get it in your inbox, in your mail. I'm not spam.
Sold.
I'm the real thing.
All right. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.